Hello, and welcome to another week of Kingdom Builders Credit Repair with Michelle Green. That's me, and our credit and financial tips. Thank you for joining us. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button at Kingdom Builders Credit Repair and also at kb.michellegreen and set your notifications so you do not forget when we go live every week. We are powered by the CTR Media Network. We are here every week to share with you things about credit and finances. And we hope that you all are learning so much out there about your finances and about your credit. Yes. So welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today about too much debt. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But as always, we want to just kind of give the precursor of what is credit in the first place for those of us who don't have a clear understanding of what credit is. So let's talk about it. When we think about credit is something that we don't have the money for, so we're going to put it on credit, right? We're going to put it on credit means that we don't have all the money for our vehicles. We don't have all the money for our houses, right? We don't have all the money for our clothes. We don't have all the money for our grooming or just daily expenses like eating, groceries, putting gas in the car. So if we don't have enough money to cover that with the incomes that we make, then guess what we have to do? We have to go and get some credit. Well, a lot of times when we first start out with credit, we don't understand how to play the credit game. Even after we get into the credit game for some years, and even at the end of our livelihood, where we get to the age where we're not working anymore and we're not earning that much money, but maybe we're on Social Security, maybe we have retired and we are, just living our life, but we still have no knowledge or enough knowledge about credit to really begin to win at the credit game. So no matter what age you are, if you're just entering into the credit world as 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, if you're in your mid range of 25 to like 55, 65, or if you're over 65, it does not matter. We all have these issues with credit, and that's why we created this channel so that you will be informed on how to take care of your credit and finances, okay? I myself have been doing credit for over 30 years as a financial advisor, in addition to some other certifications and the licensing that I have. So what we do here is we look at it from all different angles. We look at credit and finances from several different angles. So today, and especially this week, I was actually, intrigued by the conversations that I had with some of my clients this week. And we were in a conversation about, the actual debt that they have. So I want to talk about what is too much debt. How do we even get to that point in the first place of where we are concerned about the debt? Well, first off, I want us to think about when we first started working, and no matter where you are in the workforce right now, or even if you're not working, but you're still bringing in an income and credit is affecting your livelihood, I want you to think about living above your means. When it comes to living above your means, the root of living above your means is really rooted in competition and comparison. So I want us to really just begin to think about when we first started this whole credit game, when we first started playing this game of credit, what intrigued us to get more credit? What intrigued us to decide that we wanted a better car or a better house or a better apartment? Or what intrigued us when we were standing in that line at the department store to actually go forward and get another credit card or another department store card? What is it that drives the force of credit? So the first thing that I want to establish is that we truly do live above our means, y'all. We are living above our means because We look at the things that other people have. We look at the things that, not only that we actually need, but when it comes to credit, a lot of times we are looking at what someone else has that looks a little bit better than ours. So it causes us to decide that, okay, I know I can't really afford this. So the initial mindset around having too much debt starts with this idea that we eliminate the final process of understanding we got to pay for all of the debt that we create. So I want us to really just think about for a minute, is it really worth it for us to look at somebody else's lifestyle and compare our lifestyles with somebody else's, whether it's a vehicle or a house, whether it's the clothes that they got on their back, the shoes that are on their feet, or whether it's just their basic lifestyle. Maybe they have certain apps on their phone, or maybe they go to certain restaurants to eat. What is that really worth our ability to go into debt that we cannot pay back just for the sake of something that we see that we kind of like, I'm a little bit jealous about, how they are living their life. So let me go over here and see if I can keep up. Let me go over here and actually see if I can outdo what they're doing without the whole mindset of, how am I going to pay this back? If I'm accruing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and y'all, when we go through our clients, hundreds and thousands of our clients all the time, every day, over the years that we have been open, listen, and even the years that we weren't open, we were still working with people and their finances and credit. So it's something that I see every day. And what we see is that the average individual is over $100,000 in debt, just because they're trying to live above their means. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses, as they say, okay? I actually have a friend that last name is Jones, so, that's a little inside joke. But anyway, living above your means, living above the way that you know that you need to live according to the income that you are receiving is a really big deal. So we got to stop looking at the competition. We got to stop looking at the comparison. And I want you just for one moment in your life to finally just bring in this calm peace mindset and just think about, am I doing the things that I really need to do? Am I living the lifestyle that I really need to live according to what kind of income I have? And there's nothing wrong that you want a better lifestyle, but don't live above what you know you can afford to do. Okay? Just stop for a moment and just take all of the other crap off the table. And when I say crap, I'm serious about this competition and comparison, because we think about it. We go through our whole entire life and we look at, even as kids, okay, they got a better bike than us. Okay, well, they got a better snack than us. Okay, they got better clothes than us. And we drive that throughout from childhood all the way into adulthood of realizing or thinking that we got to compete with somebody else instead of look at our basic necessities. When we think about our basic necessities, one of the things that we do at KBCR is we look at the actual numbers of your livelihood. What does it actually take in order for you to live? What does it actually take through a budget? So we're not just thinking about what it is, what it's going to take. We write down the actual numbers of what it literally takes in order for you to live. So if we're thinking about what it takes in order for you to live, what we're saying is that you got to stop and think about the things that you have accrued in debt, in the credit realm, in the area of where you are paying every time you get paid, every single penny that's coming out of your paycheck. You got to stop and think about, are these things that you actually need? First, we have to categorize the need before the want. So that's how we get into this process of living beyond our means. We get into this mindset of living beyond our means because we don't realize, actually, I don't need this. When I say I don't need this, this isn't something that is benefiting my life right now in this moment. It's not even something that I'm using right now in this moment. So why would I go into debt? Okay. And the second thing that I want to point out is that we accrue too much debt. And the reason why we accrue too much debt is because we depend on a credit card. Did y'all know that credit cards were never designed for you to use as an emergency? Did you know that credit cards, again, were not designed for you to use in case of an emergency? I just want to make sure that I said that twice so that you could understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, okay? So when I say that a credit card is not designed to take care of any type of emergency, but you're actually supposed to have the credit card for the purpose of replacing the credit card with your debit card. So if you take a credit card and replace it with your debit card, the transactions of your basic necessities, such as gas that you put in the car, groceries that you buy all the time, every week or every 2 weeks, or even once a month if you buy in bulk. Think about your grooming expenses when you get your hair done, when you get your nails done, ladies. And guys, when you go get a haircut, those are the kinds of things that you would put on a credit card to replace using the cash from your debit card. But you want to still maintain that credit card with a very low balance every 30 days so that you could literally pay it off if you needed to. Now, last week we talked about the new credit. So if you need to go back and watch the previous videos about credit cards, that would be absolutely fine because there are some detailed instructions on how to use your credit cards, okay? But today we're talking about that debt that is accrued from that credit card. Why are we dependent on the credit cards and the loans? There are many of us that we go through a loan company like One Main Financial Security Finance. We go through these companies, and what happens is that we tend to repeat a cycle of staying in the cycle of going back again. Once we pay that loan down, once we pay the credit card down, and we go back and get another line of credit. Listen, if you're trying to get out of debt, if you don't even have the mindset of how you're going to pay off all the debt that you have, okay? If you haven't been thinking about how long is it going to really take me to pay this stuff off, if you have not even considered the terms and agreements of every creditor that you have signed your name to, then I want you to, in this moment, stop for a second and begin to think about, how much debt do I really have? Do I have 50,000, 25,000? Do I have 175,000, 100,000? Do I have $500,000 of debt? Listen, we look at the credit reports every single day. We see the debt that is accrued by every consumer. And it's not to knock the consumer, but what happens is that we are not fully educated on what we are doing out here. We cannot depend on another credit card to get us out of debt. We cannot depend on another loan to get us out of debt. We are already indebted. So what our minds need to shift from is the dependency of the credit cards to how are we going to pay off this over a long-term period of time. So let's go back for a moment to that thought that I just explained about credit cards being an emergency case situation. So if we have an emergency in our life, we have been trained that credit cards are supposed to help us to get out of that emergency. Well, what are the ways that we can begin our journey of thinking about how we're going to pay off all the debt that we have is to first think about how well are we handling our savings. Do you have a 401k on your job? Do you have any money saved at the bank or the credit union? Now, there are things that I can talk to you about as we talk to our clients about in the actual credit program with us. We can actually help you to understand where to put your money so that you can save it and get a high interest rate return on your money. So one of the things that is a solution to helping you to pay down your debt because you have too much debt is to simply begin to think about how much money do you earn and how disciplined are you in saving money. Most people, most Americans especially, do not have a savings that is even $500 to $1,000 in the savings account. They don't have any money. So what we're doing is we're just constantly fooling ourselves with the comparison and the competition of trying to live above our means, depending on the ability to be able to get another credit card, to be able to renew a loan. And what's happening is we're not saving any money at all. So the issue around us not saving any money at all is the fact that we will be indebted our entire life. Now, I know y'all have felt the wrath of debt. I know you have felt the wrath of the collection companies calling your phone from an account that you did not pay off. I know you have felt the wrath of the debtors, the creditors that call your phone and hound you after you have just bought some grocery, after you have just done something for your kid, after you have done something for your spouse or a family member. Listen, I understand that they are calling and hounding you. Okay, when are you going to make your payment? Okay, you said you were going to make your payment 2 weeks ago. I haven't received the payment yet. So what is going on? Why haven't you made the payment? Okay, if you don't make the payment, we're getting ready to send this to a charge-off status. We're going to close your account. We are going to take this account into collections. That is the wrath of debt. And that's not how we are supposed to live. We are supposed to get out in front of the debt. We are supposed to be able to control the debt. We are supposed to be able to control how much money it is that we borrow. So when we think about not having a savings account, not being able to save not one red cent, come on now, that is insane. Do you know how much money we actually make over a period of years that we are in the workforce? When we are working, we are actually accruing anywhere from $1.5 million over a period of 30 to 40 years of working or more. Now, many of us say we want to be millionaires, but we don't even realize that many times we've already made $1 million. We've already earned $1 million, but it's what we did with the money that we earned that is the issue. So that's why I'm saying to you, if you are a part of Kingdom Builders Credit Repair already, please make sure that you do your budget assessment with myself or with my team. Make sure that you do the budget assessment, because the budget assessment will show you exactly what your numbers are, where you're spending the money, in addition to where we can start saving so that we can build up some wealth for you and leave a legacy for your family. Because that's what it's really about. It's not about living like the Joneses. It's not about trying to keep up with the friend and the family member and, oh, I'm going to show them by going out and getting a new outfit and some new hair. Okay, it's not about going to buy the biggest and the finest car that's $50,000 to $100,000. It's not about trying to buy a house that you cannot even furnish. Okay, it is simply about the fact that what are your needs? What things do you absolutely have to have that you don't have the money right now to afford, that you would have to gain credit for it? And then the flip side of that is, how are you going to put together a plan that is going to allow you to pay off the debt? Now, one of the reasons why I'm emphasizing saving money is because one of the ways that we help our clients to get out of debt is not just through making more money. It's not just about what they do with the money per se, as far as paying down the particular debt items, but it is really about how much interest are you receiving on the money that you are saving. Because see, another way that you can accrue wealth is by knowing how much interest you're receiving on the money that you save. Therefore, if you have a high interest rate on the money that you're saving, then guess what? Not only do you not have to work as hard, but you can be working at McDonald's or Burger King and be able to still pay off your debts. But that's a mindset shift that has to come about from being the person that's competing and comparing to a person that looks at the necessities and thinks about the end goal. If they were kind enough to lend me the money, if the creditor was kind enough based on the credit score to give me this amount of money because I needed to buy a house, I needed to buy a car, I needed to buy a vehicle, or whatever the scenario, I may have even needed money for my business. Of course, I have done that and still are doing that. But what we do is when we gain loans, when we gain the credit, we have no intention of paying it off. We have no intention of a plan that we can put together to pay it off. And that's why we end up in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. We gotta begin to change the way that we think about debt. Now, another issue that is surrounded around having too much debt is this mindset of taking the shortcut with the creditors. There are thousands of companies that are now popping up all over the world that are what we call alternative lines of credit. Alternative lines of credit are the buy here, pay here type of companies. And the buy here, pay here culture is causing us to believe that even if I can't get financed through that original creditor, I'll just use a buy here, a buy now, pay later type of alternative line of credit. So that'll show up on my credit and I ain't really got to worry about it because they're going to take that from my paycheck every time I get paid. Well, that's not necessarily the best option. Why not? Because when you think about the buy now, pay later culture, the mindset is to keep you indebted forever. Did you know that? It is a culture or a mindset that wants to keep you indebted for your entire life, and also the people that are coming behind you, the next generation. It is a mindset to keep you in debt forever. So you don't want to have the mindset of, okay, I'm going to buy it now and I'm going to pay it later. Not the same as a layaway. It means that you get to have whatever it is right there in that moment. So there is that instantaneous mindset again that we're going to get what we want right now without the mindset that we're going to pay it off at the end of the loan or the end of the terms of the loan. So what I want us to really take away from this is that we got to put together a plan. We got to put together a budget of where we're going to put the money, how we're going to get a savings in place. How are we going to start saving money? We should be starting to save money out of every time we get paid, at least $25. That is the lowest amount that you can even start with. $25. I mean, you spend $25 just at the gas station buying a couple of snacks. Okay, go to the Dollar General. By the time you check out, you're probably at about $50. So you could afford $50 to put into a savings if you just discipline yourself. But to discipline yourself, you have to change your mind. You have to be intentional about the fact that you're going to finally make some decisions that are different than what your family made, that are different than what your friends are making, that are different from a significant other, a spouse. You're going to make a different decision because now you are realizing like, hey, wait a minute. If I pull my credit report and I see all of these creditors that were not paid and that I'm indebted to, then that is a problem. That's why we are having this conversation around this credit and financial tips, because what we're saying is that you don't want to spend the rest of your life paying off debt. You don't want to spend the rest of your life being indebted. Did you know that even though a house is financed for 30 years, it doesn't mean that you actually have to? You don't actually have to take 30 years to pay off that house. If you put together a budget and you look at, let's say your house is $300,000. So you got $300,000 of a mortgage. And if you're paying, let's say $2,000 a month, $300,000 divided by $2,000 a month would actually only take 150 months to pay off. So what is 150 months compared to 30 to 40 or 50 years? We're talking about 12 or maybe 13 years in relation to 30 to 40 or 50 years of your life paying off a freaking mortgage. And don't get a second mortgage or don't do a home equity line of credit, because then you're indebted for even longer. You're spending 60 to 70 years of your life paying off a mortgage, and you're paying quadruple the amount of money that you should have paid for the initial $300,000. You're paying basically $750,000 to $1 million for the same house that was only valued at $300,000. So that's why it's so crucial for us to understand when we have a vehicle loan, our vehicle loans are running $25,000 to $50,000 or more on average. Okay. So how long does it take to pay off a vehicle loan? Let's do the math. So if we say $50,000 and you're paying, let's say most of the vehicle loans today are running around $1,000 monthly payment. But I'm just going to say if you had some decent, fairly decent credit and you were paying about $700 a month, then it would only take you like it would probably take you like 3 to 5 years to pay off that same $50,000 instead of you trying to pay over a 7 to 10 year period of time. That's crazy, y'all. We got to look at the plan. What is the total amount of debt that we have? How can we figure out how much money we can put on the principal balance of what it is that we owe so that that debt balance will come down quicker than us just making our average monthly payment? That is the issue that we have here at hand. We cannot continue to just pay for debt or get indebted rather and decide that we're just going to act like we don't have what we have, that we're not responsible, that somebody else is supposed to do the payoff. Somebody else is supposed. How can you get out of debt if you always have the same mindset? Listen, we got to go on a crusade. We got to have some momentum. We got to be intentional about getting out of debt. We got to put together a blueprint, a plan that when we look at, even if you have $500,000 of debt, there is still a solution. What we do is we take care of the smallest debt first. Then whatever money we were putting towards that debt, once it's paid off, the smallest line of debt that we have, then we take that and we start moving it to the payments to the next smallest line of debt. So whatever type of debt that we have, no matter what it is possible for you to pay it off. There is a solution for us to have our income and not just take every penny and put it towards things that we owe. There is a solution that if you start saving, even if you save at a very low amount, even if you go down to $10 or $20 a month, that's something better than nothing. And if you take that and compound it with time, I promise you, get with Kingdom Builders Credit Repair, and we will show you the right place to put that money so that it can begin to draw interest in the same manner that you are paying interest on the debt that you owe. And then you'll have extra money that you did not have to work for so that you can pay your debt off. We got to learn how to manage this credit game. I am so passionate about it. If you are interested in joining in our program of Kingdom Builders Credit Repair, listen, we do more than just credit. We educate you. We care about your well-being of your credit and your financial portfolio. We care about how much debt you have. We care about the kind of debt that you accrue. We care about you getting the right type of debt established. Not everybody needs the same type of debt. Okay, so let's look at what it is that you need. Let's look at the things that it is that you want and desire, and let's begin to put together the dream portfolio of your credit and your finances at Kingdom Builders Credit Repair. I would want to thank you guys so much for what you have done to sit here and listen to what it is that we have to say and share about credit and financial tips. I want to also ask that you would share this video with a friend or family member. Go ahead and tell them to sign up and subscribe to the Kingdom Builders Credit Repair YouTube channel, because we are airing all over TV networks. Listen, we are on Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire, Roku TV. We're pretty much everywhere, and there are billions of people who need this information, and the billions of people who are watching. Thank you again for watching the Kingdom Builders Credit Repair Credit and Financial Tips. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next week at the same time for some more advice on how to manage your credit and finances. Thank you so much, and I hope that you've enjoyed.